Right, hello everybody again. Welcome to today's live stream. We'll get started in just a couple of seconds. For those of you that are brand new to this session, my name's Alistair, and for those of you that have been joining us for the last two sessions now, hello again. And it's great to have you back with me. Just before we get started, I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me. And I know that we're being joined in this session today by the wonderful Tanya. Thank you very much for joining in this session. So, Tanya, if you would be so kind as to just confirm that you can hear me, because uh, I'm not clearly the most technologically minded person in the world, and I haven't managed to get this working quite right so far. So, Tanya, just a quick message. Sounds okay. Excellent. We can carry on with today's session. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Tanya. Okay, so today's session is a follow-up to the last two sessions, where we are going to be looking at some more ways to be using Just2easy in Malta for distance teaching and learning, but we're going to take it a stage further. We've been talking so far about how you can store worksheets and share activities with your students, and yesterday we looked at how you can then provide feedback and support to your students in Just2easy. And I even explained to you yesterday how you could use video and audio to support the learning process that your students are going through. Today, we're going to take that a stage further, and we're going to work through a process of collaborative teaching and learning. So what I mean by that is actually being able to do a lot of different types of activities in different areas of the curriculum. Maybe a bit of geography, maybe a bit of English, maybe some history, maybe some science, or some maths, all encompassing, as well as all of the digital literacy aspects. So we're going to be looking at how we can work together in activities, not just a document, but in activities in Just2easy. So without much further ado, I'm going to get started with that. So today is all about collaborative activities and collaborative learning and collaborative feedback too. But on top of that, we're also going to explore some other really useful tools for you. And I'm going to start with those useful tools first because you may not necessarily have explored those yet. First up, I would like to show you and share with you Blast. So Blast is a complete system of getting your children to practice some English and some maths concepts by themselves. And you could set this as a daily activity, 10 minutes of Blast, or a 5-minute spelling competition, or a 5-minute times tables competition. Let me show you how it works because I think it'd be really quite useful, particularly for your primary students. Here, so if I just zoom in quickly, you'll see on my tile here I've got Blast, and some of you may have clicked on this already, but let me just take you through some of the options with you. Okay, so Blast, you've got two choices. You have Spell Blast, and then you've got Times Tables Blast. Spell Blast we'll go to first, and we'll have a quick look at that. And when you go there, your students, I mean, you can practice this as well as teachers if you would like, but when you go there as a student, you get two options. And the two options are have a practice by yourself or go live and play against other players. And you can see here that there are a wide range of children playing here. We'll get there in just a second. But if I click on have a practice first, Spell Blast is pre-populated with a whole bunch of words based in different phases and then in year groups as well. So your students do have an opportunity to practice words, and it gives you things like high frequency words, words for years 3 and 4, 5 and 6 and 1 and 2, etc. And if I want to go and play those, this is just showing me some examples of those words. But if I go and Sorry, I have to stop speaking because somebody's speaking in my ears now. You will hear natural real actor voices speaking the words to you, and it'll also give you context to the words. Now, if I get it wrong, um, it'll give me the opportunity to play the sound again, or I could listen to it as many times as I want by clicking on the speaker button. So this person in my ear, who I'm trying to compete with when I'm speaking, is saying war, tug of war. So I can spell war, and off I go along the screen. So the next one is many. How many do I want? And before I embarrass myself with terrible spellings, I'm going to leave it there. Now, it doesn't just stop there, but you can then go live and play against other people, and these are real students. Now, if your students are playing this in Malta at the same time, they may be lucky enough to play against each other in a race. And it's exactly that. It's a race to do the spellings. So you listen to the words, you spell them. If you get it wrong, it'll give you another opportunity to play it. Now, when children do this for the first time, they go, yeah, it's a bit of okay. But when they realize they get points when they play live and they can change their avatars, and you can see on the rankings in their school, for example, they'll realize that they could have a competition on their hands quite quickly. Now, this doesn't just have to be English. This could be Maltese language too. So I could click as a teacher on ABC button here. So if I go into Spellblast as a teacher, I'm logged on as a teacher at the moment. If I click there, I can add spelling words. Now I can add my words. If I give it a title first, I'll go, uh, let me just think of something off the top of my head. Things that I can see. And I can see a chair. And I can see a table. And I can see a light. So if I want to actually use these with my students, I can then have the opportunity to either let the computer speak the words in robot speak, similar to the Amazon Alexa type voice, or I could record myself speaking. So I can say chair, spell the word chair, or I could say chair, I sat on a chair, to give it some context. Now that could, I don't speak Maltese, I wish I could, but it could be Maltese words, it could be French words, it could be Italian words, it could be Chinese words. Anything you want. As soon as you're happy with all of the different words, I then, so I've got I can see things here, I can then share it with my students, and that will then go to my school, or specific students as well, because I could always just find one student and then they would be able to see and practice their spelling words that you have set them. And there is nothing better, nothing more engaging than the teacher actually, the student listening to their own teacher delivering the words in a spelling contest in a computer program. Really engaging. Okay, so let me go back to J2 Blast for a second. The other one, now I've explained the concept of Spell Blast, you've got Times Tables Blast here as well. So get your brains fizzing, get your children practicing their times tables here. Again, you can practice your times tables and choose the level that you want to play at, and then off you go. And you can play that live as well. And there are real children playing that right now against me, and I'm not going to embarrass myself there. It also checks the level that you're already playing at, so it will make sure that you're going to play at the right level for you. So the algorithm built into this will always ensure that the questions are fit for the student at their level. Okay. And the children not only get points to go on the leaderboards, but they also get to change their avatar. So as they get more points, they can change their avatar and have a different character. Further to that, this is really useful as a teacher, both in Spell Blast and in Times Tables Blast. As a teacher, you can build up a picture of how many students are playing and how well they're playing as well. So what I can do is I can actually choose a chart, and I can see if I go to a particular user, for example, or a whole class, I can see the statistics to see which ones on the times tables I got right and which ones I got wrong more frequently, etc. So there's an opportunity for children to be advised perhaps to practice their 6 times table, because I clearly did get that wrong a bit more than anything else. So there is J2 Blast. Please also remember that you've got some wonderful tools for creativity here for younger learners here with writing tools where you can write with a theme. And children often use this as a way of practicing their typing skills as well as their ability to create stories. And you've got some painting tools there. Again, you can start painting pictures and even doing some wonderful things such as animation. So you can always do some animation with your characters on the screen, or anything that you wish. Limitless possibilities here for all of these different tools. You are not constricted by these whatsoever. Okay, so that's I won't save that for the moment. In fact, I will, because I'm going to demonstrate one thing to you right now. Moving on to the main topic today, which is collaborative learning and collaborative teaching. There is a tool that I've not shown you in Just2easy yet that I think your children will really like, and I'm going to show you by logging on as a pupil first how this just works. So I'm going to log on as a pupil, my trusty Eli. Oh, thank you. Okay, so Eli's going to do 2 things. Eli, as a student, is going to draw a picture. Life on the beach, I think we'll do. So here we go. I'm going to do something very simple here by drawing a boat in the sea. It's not a very good boat, but it's a boat nevertheless. Certain to fail that. Okay, but you get the idea. So, Eli's drawn a picture. He can save his work, as I've shown you previously, using the save button. You might have noticed that that save button is a little hark back to the 80s and 90s disk button there. That's an opportunity for your children to ask, why is that save button, that icon? So if I press save, that work will always be saved in their e-portfolio so that you as a teacher can see their work at any point in time. But Eli can do something else too. There is another button here at the top called Publish. Now what that does, and you'll see this button in a number of places in Just2easy, Publish allows the student to send his work to you, the teacher, to be checked over, and if you feel it's suitable, if you feel it's on target and focused on the particular activity that you wanted them to do, or if you feel that it's just a good way to celebrate that particular student's achievements, you can publish it on a blog. Because what we do here is, with Just2easy, we have a blog part of Just2easy as well that is synchronized with WordPress. You don't need to worry about WordPress at all, but it's integrated, and it means that if you think the work is really good and you like it and you want to share it, you can get your children's work published on a class blog so that the rest of the class can see it, so that parents can see it, and if you wish, you could always even share it with the big wide world out there too. And I'll show you how to do that later. All the child needs to do is press the publish button, because they then know that the teacher will be able to see it and check it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll like it enough to be able to put it on the class blog. So if I press the publish button as a student, what it says there is Paint has been posted to J2Webby. Your work won't be shown until the teacher has approved it. So your work will be shown in the blog once your teacher has approved it. So that nothing's happened yet, no work has been posted to the blog, but the teacher will get a notification, and I'll show you where in a second. And I'm going to show you where else you can do this too. So I've shown you J2E5 before, where the students can maybe write an essay, my home learning uh, experience today. By the way, I've completely forgotten. I meant to mention at the beginning of the session today, I do hope you are all well and staying ever so much that way inclined. So sending best regards from Just2easy to everybody in Malta today. So here is my learning experience today. I might want to add a picture in there. Let's add, oh look, there's me doing a bit of a live stream. I think they do this a little bit more professionally than I do. But here's my work. It could be anything that the student has done. And I'm going to save it. First, I need to give it a name because this is a document. It'll go into their My Files, which the teacher can see as well. And I'm going to give it a name called Today. And today is the name of the document that Eli is going to save. Once it's been saved, you'll also see at the top of the screen, again, slightly different looking icon, but very similar, there is the Publish button. Now, Eli clicks that button, and because he's in Year 3 and 4 class, it does choose that the blog post is going to go there, and we'll leave it there for the moment. He could choose to publish it in other areas, but we'll leave it in class 3 and 4. It's always best for your children to publish it in the class. So, if we publish to J2Webby, again, you'll get a message to say your work will be shown in the blog once your teacher has approved it. So let's close that down now and log back in as a teacher. Here we go. Right, something has changed on my dashboard as a teacher. I wonder if you can spot it. Yes, over on the right-hand side of my screen is a button called Moderate. Now that tile has a number on it that tells you how many things I need to have a look at. And here I've got 3 things as a teacher I need to look at. When it says here the number of J2Webby posts awaiting moderation is 3. So if I go and do that, it just shows me a very simple page here, and it says there is a blog called Year 3 and Year 4, and there are 3 things in that blog awaiting moderation. Now what it's going to do is let me click on the blog name, and you'll notice that it looks a little different now because this has gone straight into the specific place in WordPress that will allow you to approve your student's work. Eli has done 3 things that he would like to have published on the blog. First off, I can have a quick look at it. So as a teacher, even though we're in WordPress and the work has been done by Eli in J2E, let's have a look at this one from here. So I can have a look and see Eli's interesting boat. And that's what it's going to look like when it's published on the school blog. All I need to do then is choose to publish it. And that work is going to be published. So I can then see, I could leave these and come back to these later, but I could then go and look at the blog itself. At the top of the screen here, it says your school's blog, and I can just go there. I can visit the site. This is my WordPress site, and in class 3 and 4, there is his work. Now this is where it becomes amazingly collaborative, and the opportunities for mindfulness and well-being of your students right now can really expand, because what you're doing is giving your children a safe environment for them to share their work with others. Right now every child is sitting at home and they're having a teaching and learning experience which is focused around whatever it is that their parents can support them with and the class teacher. At this point, anything that the student does, whether it's paint a poster, a picture, write an essay, make a poem, make a story, etc. All of those things can now be shared with his class. And here is how. Because your students can look at each other's posts on the blog, but then because they have their own accounts with Just2easy, they will also be able to read and comment on each other's work. Now that's fantastic for the child because it means that they then become authors of work, not just creators of a particular task that the teacher has set. And as soon as a student then sees that someone else has written comments on their work and given them feedback, then the sensation of achievement and pride is phenomenal for that child. But furthermore, that little thought process that they go through then becomes ooh, other people have seen this work. Other people are reading my stories. I can do better next time. And that process will continue to evolve and improve the student's work, as well as that emotional well-being of realizing that other students are in the same boat and we're doing the same things and we can support each other and give each other feedback. Now, one of the things that I hear you questioning whilst I'm talking, and I'm not even looking at the live stream questions yet, is, hang on a second, are you telling me that students can comment on each other's work? Yes, they can, but no, they can't read it until you've approved it. How do they approve it? It's really straightforward. So, if I was to sign in as a student and leave a comment here, what the teacher would get is another button here, another number here to say there are comments awaiting moderation, meaning that you just need to read through the comments, check that they are appropriate, and then approve those comments, and then they'll go live to the student, and then the student can see the feedback on their work from other people. Now that feedback could be taken even further because a lot of people end up going on Twitter with this, and I'll show you how in a second. But here are some examples, and I genuinely don't know what's going on around the world with blogging in J2E right now because it's always updating. I've got this button here called J2 Write, which would take me to some top schools, and you can use this button as well. If you go into J2 Write, the yellow tile called J2 Write, and look at top schools, here it's located in my region, which is showing basically the region where I live. It's showing all of these different schools, and the ones that are bouncing up and down there are the most recent blog posts. So these schools have been very busy with their blogging, and they've got 664 blogs that have been posted. So I could go and click on that. Interesting. So the teacher is creating the blog as well, and also sharing student work. Oh look, there's a post here by a student, which is Rumpelstiltskin, and they've been answering questions. If I go back, they've included a YouTube video in a blog post as well. So this is how the teacher is sharing work with the students, but also the students are posting their work too. So it looks like they're making great use of the tools there. And that's just one example. If I go and have another look at a school, which is, let me have a look and see what this school is doing. Ah, fabulous. So students have been writing stories and, oh, they've been practicing their times tables and drawing pictures. Oh, somebody's been writing a story about Christmas. So this has all been happening very, very recently. Okay, so this is another way for your students to become collaborative learners. And I was just checking the comments there to see if anybody has any specific comments. That's fine at the moment. I'm going to take you in now to another way that you can collaborate with your students. And that is through an activity that could be used for maths, for science, for languages, for history, for geography. What is Alistair talking about? I'm talking about students creating and editing their own informational database. There is a feature in Just2easy called J2Data. It's a tool on the dashboard here, and you could create a database that you can share with your students. Let me show you an example of how this works. If I go into J2Data, you do have some different tools here, which I've shown you before. You've got pictogram, chart, and branch, but I'm going to show you database just quickly. And I'm going to show you some examples first. And here we have all sorts of different examples, such as passengers from the Titanic, countries from around the world, food, pictograms, mini beasts, an online shop, dinosaurs, all sorts of different things. Let me go and have a look at countries for just a second. And this is an example of a database that students can create. And we are going to do one in a minute together too. We'll have a look at this first. So here we've got 24 pieces of information that students have found about countries. The name, the area, population, language, the flag of the country, and the currency that they have. And they've populated that information themselves. So not only have they decided what information they're going to gather, they've then completed the fact-finding mission for every single country that they've got in the database here. So you can see it all in a list format, but then you can go a stage further and then you can chart the information, such as on the x-axis I could look at country name, and on the y-axis I could look at population. And I can look at that in a pie chart form, change it into a 3D pie chart form, and all sorts of things. So what I can do here is I can show you an idea of how you could get your children on a fact-finding mission even though they're at home, and they could work together with other students in the class. Okay, what you'd need to do is, I'll start from the beginning so you can see where to go, is go into J2Data and go on to database. Now here it's a brand new database, and I'm going to decide what is the information it is that I want to gather. So it might be things that I can see from my window, for example. Or it could be, I mean, because everybody's on lockdown at the moment, it could be an opportunity for you to gather information about the flora and fauna around you. So it could be counting different types of species of birds. It could be counting it could be collecting information about the different types of plants that you can identify, or the growth of plants if students are doing some seed growing on their windowsills, for example. So all sorts of different ways that it could be used for science, for geography, for history. You know, you could actually get a history database created so that you could ask parents and grandparents around you or further afield some different interesting facts from different periods of history and put them in here. But let's do birds that or things that I can see, which could include lots of different things. So first off, I need to write people's names. So I'll just say first name, and that's going to be text. And the next field might be a plant name, and that could be text. And the third field could be a bird name. But we could go even further than that. We could have a photo as evidence, and we could put that in as a picture. And you can have all sorts of different fields here. So you could have a text field, different options, choose from the different list of things. You could have currencies, so you could get your children, identifying different currencies from around the world. You could put dates in, so if you want to capture particular information about dates in history or birthdays, etc., you could do that. If you'd like to even put some video in or sound into this database, you can. And of course, you've got email addresses and phone numbers that you could put in as data entry as well. So there's loads of different ways that you can set this up. I'm going to save my database first. There's my database called Malta database, and I'm going to save that. And now that is saved, I could then share that with people here. And I could do a few things here. I can publish it so that everybody has access to it anywhere. And I could maybe lock it in contributor mode so that nobody else can edit it. So I can just click that button and say that you've just got to only add information to the database. And once that's saved, I could do something rather special, because seeing as you're all online here, let me just go into my files a second. Here, because I've got that file shared and it's published, I could then create a QR code right here for you all to then contribute to. So this is true collaboration taking place no matter where you are in the world. We've just created a database, and now using that QR code, if you've got a QR reader on your phone, you could go to your phone right now and start editing that database, start adding information into that database. Okay. And yes, so they've got a question here. Is it possible to upload an interactive PowerPoint? I think what the question there is it possible for you to be able to upload a PowerPoint that your pupils can actually collaborate in straight away? Yes, it is. So I've just shown you a database example of how you can collect information and work collaboratively on a science or geography or maths activity. And if you were to fill in that database, I would then see it being populated with information, and it would tell me the number of things that were being filled in there. But you can do it with any document you want. If, for example, you put a PowerPoint slide in J2E, so you drag and drop your PowerPoint into Just2easy. Let me just have a look and see what I've got here. So here we go. I've got a PowerPoint here of, let me just see this open. So this is a PowerPoint presentation here. With various different slides, all about the amazing artist Stephen Wiltshire. I can make this collaborative so students can work in it together at the same time. How I do that is simply click on the I button and click share so that your students can can see it at first. Choose the students that I want to share that with. So I'm going to go to my year 3 and 4 class, my trusty class. And I've got an option here of making it either a worksheet or a collaborative document. If I click collaborative document, that means every single student will be able to edit that document in real time together. Now that goes for PowerPoint, slides, a slideshow, or it goes for a spreadsheet where you're entering information into a spreadsheet, or it goes into a document that you're writing in, like a Word document as well. So anything that you want to collaborate with your students with will work in that way. And we even have that feature available for J2E5 as well. So yes, you can use all of the tools from Office, presenting, writing, and spreadsheet work you can collaborate with. Plus, if you want to do it in J2E5, you can do that too. So here, if I can make our collaborative J2E5 document, where you can simply just choose to put information on the page and stick it anywhere you want, I can then save that, and as soon as I've saved it, collab, I'll just save it quickly. As soon as I've saved it, I've got a version of it, I can then click on the share button, and again, all I need to do is just choose to make it a collaborative document and then share it with the students that I want to share it with. And only those students will be able to work in it. It still says private. Don't worry about that. It is private, but it means once you've shared it with your class, those students in that class will be able to see it, or individual students, for example, as well. You're very welcome, Lauren. Hopefully that's answered that question. So there are a number of ways that you can do collaborative activities using Just2easy in any way, shape, or form. And I'm going to wrap this presentation up here. I'm hoping that as time goes by, we'll be able to run some more of these workshops. People have clearly got a lot of questions and would like to, and what I would like to do is work with your schools, work with Tanya and the team. Again, a massive shout out and thanks to Tanya for supporting these sessions with you guys, and also to Keith for making sure that these sessions actually can go ahead. So thank you very much for that. And also to Martez for supporting all the schools out there as we get you all switched on with your accounts in J2E. So I'm hoping that over time we'll be able to run some more of these, and then we can start sharing some ideas about how schools in Malta are using this and celebrate some of the work that students are doing. I would thoroughly recommend, as teachers though, this is my last final recommendation for you today. You don't have to follow us on Twitter. This isn't a gratuitous plea for followers or etc. But have a look at Twitter if you can, because on Twitter, if you just do a search for J2E5 or Just2easy, and you can find us there. But if you just do a search for Just2easy, for example, and you do that search, you are going to see other schools around the world showing student work, sharing their activities, sharing what they've been doing. Not just us, I mean, hardly we tweet at all, to be quite honest, but it really shows a lot of the things that students are doing and teachers are sharing in Just2easy as well. Okay, so do feel free to go and have a look at that. You don't have to follow us, but if you want to, we can always respond to you on Twitter as well with if you've got questions, etc. So do feel free to have a look at all of the things that are on there. Okay, so that's me wrapped up for the day. Thank you very much everybody again for watching, and this video will be available very soon to watch again should you really wish to see that happen on YouTube. All the best, have a wonderful day everybody, and stay well and healthy. Bye for now.